Remember when IGCSE paper 1 was just a small paper, 1 hour, and as soon as you got in, you were ready to get out? The paper is greatly changed. In this video, we're going to break it down, see the changes, see the new things, see the old things, what has changed, what has remained, and how can you pass this paper.
If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Or you'll sneeze during a really important moment, like a proposal or a bank robbery. Either way, not ideal. Now, let's continue with the revision.
Pause the video when you need to solve it before we solve it together. See where you've made a mistake and improve along the way. In summary, we can see that the code has remained the same. The number of pages has greatly changed from 12 to 18. The number of marks also has increased from 56 to 80, which means that there's an increase by 24. Then the number of questions, although it has not is slightly decreased, yet the questions are more branched, which means that they've got more parts, part A, B, C, D, E, F. So each question, one question may take 2 or 3 pages. Then the layout is basically the same, but as we've noted, there are more part questions in the updated paper. Olden paper, a calculator was allowed, and in the new paper, it is not allowed in the paper 1. And formulas were not supplied in the first paper, but they are now supplied. We are looking at the specimen paper for examinations starting from 2025, which is this year. And it's mathematics paper 1, code 0580/01, that's the component code. It's a non-calculator core paper. So all students who are taking the core topics, which are indicated core in the syllabus as well as in the textbooks, those ones who are writing this paper, you do this paper for 1.5 hours. It's a relatively new structured paper, but basically the questions are the same, the concepts are the same, the topics are the same. Maybe the wording is a bit trickier, but you just appreciate that the paper is what it is. Most importantly, when you're starting out your exam, as soon as you're given leave to go, quickly write out your name in the spaces given. Make sure that your name is neat and in capital letters. Also write your sender number in the allocated space in clear numbers, and your candidate number as well. Take note to read all instructions. Firstly, make sure that you've set for the correct paper. You are sitting for mathematics core paper 1, non-calculator. The dates are correct. You are sitting for the maths paper. The component code is 01. Take note that you read instructions. In all maths papers, you must always bring geometrical instruments, which is your mathematical set. You must answer all questions. That's the most important part. Make sure you attempt all questions. You must not leave any questions unattempted, because there are marks and part marks for all the questions that you attempt. You are supposed to use a dark blue pen if you're in other regions for Cambridge, or if you are in the UK, you are allowed to use a black pen. Mostly you won't go wrong with a dark blue pen. Always take note to go with an extra pen or 2, just in case it may fail you on the exam day. You must also bring an HB pencil, which is dark and sharpened. You must also bring a sharpener in your maths or geometrical instruments. Bring 2 pencils, it's fine as well. You must write your name, sender number, and candidate number in the boxes at the top of the page. You must write your answers to each question in the spaces provided for each question. Do not use an erasable pen or correction fluid. You do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used, and this is in bold. You must not use calculator in this exam. If you're found with a calculator, you'll be disqualified for cheating. Also take note that you're not allowed to bring in electrical gadgets, smartwatches, etc., which will be deemed as cheating. You're allowed to use tracing paper for all the questions which require tracing paper. These may be questions on perhaps geometry, transformations, the like. And take note to show all the necessary working clearly Do not make your work haphazard and unclear and ugly. Perchance the marker may not see clearly your work and you may lose marks. All the work should be written clearly and neatly. And some extra information, note that the paper is now out of 80 instead of the previous 56. And the number of marks for each question and part question is given in square brackets at the end of each question. So let's start. The paper has got 18 pages, which means that you must divide your time well, manage your time well. You've got only 1.5 hours. You must move swiftly, but you must also be accurate. In this new paper, you've been given a list of formulas. You've been given the area of a triangle, area of a circle, circumference of a circle, curved area of a cylinder, the curved surface area of a cone or surface area of a sphere, volume of a prism, volume of a pyramid, volume of a cylinder, volume of a cone, and volume of a sphere. So use these where they are necessary. And when you've been given a formula, or when you are given a question which requires you to use a formula, first write this one down, then input the correct figures for each of the unknown variables. In that way, when the marker is going through a paper, they will see if you make any errors, you may be eligible for part marks or for error carried forward. So take note to use these formulas where and when necessary. So this is a compensation. Since they removed the calculator, then they put in some formulas, so it's a win, eh? So let's start. Question 1. Again, the instruction is given, calculators must not be used in this paper. So do not be found wanting or on the wrong side. First question says, Kim takes part in a race that covers a total distance of 20,000 meters. She cycles 17,875 meters and runs the remaining distance. Work out the distance Kim runs. So this is a question of finding the difference. So firstly, we need to find the difference, 20,000 meters. Always remember to put units so that you don't get lost. 17,875 meters. So you do a subtraction, 10 minus 5, you get 5 here. You add 1 here, you add another 10 there, 10 minus 8, 2. You add 1 here to make this one a 9. Add another 10 there, 10 minus 9, 1. You add another 1 here to make it an 8, add a 10, and you also add a 1 here. 10 minus 8, 2, and 2 minus 2 gives you 0. So the total number of meters which Kim runs is 2,125 meters. So take note to write the answer in the given space. Even though you've done your working, you must also answer the question and follow instructions. Put your answers in the given space there. That's why the question is only 1 mark. Write the number 17,875 in words. So I've already said it, but I will write it 17,800, and always remember to put this one if you're joining numbers like this one, and 75. Another free mark there. Write the number 17,875 correct to the nearest 100. So when you're rounding to the nearest, you look at the number which is to the right whenever you are doing any rounding of any sort. So these are 10,000, these are thousands, these are hundreds, these are tens, and these are units. So if you are rounding to the nearest 100, you look at the tens. If the number is 5 or more, you're going to add 1 to this number, and all the other ones are going to be replaced by zeros. So it will be 17,000. Then we add a 1 here to this 8, it becomes 9, and then the other ones become zeros. So it will be 17,900. Moving on, question 2. The diagram shows the net of a solid. So this is obviously a 3D shape. You can see that possibly you can join these corners because these triangles are equal. These 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. So you may form a shape. So what's the name of this shape, mathematical name of this solid which you form? Because these ones are going to join together, and these are all triangles, and there's a square here. This is a square pyramid. So how do you determine if a shape is a pyramid or a prism. A pyramid only has one base and all the other sides are triangles, whereas a prism has got two bases and the other sides are rectangles. So that's the main difference. You can tell whether a shop is a pyramid or a prism. For this solid, write down the number of vertices. So a vertex is a point. Let's define that one. So what is a vertex? A vertex is a point where lines meet. Two or more lines meet. Okay. Of course, you're not supposed to write this for revision. So you can tell here that these points are going to meet at one point because this is like a square pyramid. So if these ones are going to meet, then it's going to be one vertex, then 2, 3, 4, 5. So the number of vertices here is going to be 5. All right, free marks. Moving on to question 3. The number n is both a multiple of 12 and a square number. Find the smallest possible value of n. In this question, it is easier for you to list out the numbers which are being requested here. Firstly, let's list down the multiples of 12, and then let's list down the square numbers or the squares. Right, so multiples of 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. Then the squares, we've got 1 times 1, that gives us 1, 2 times 2, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, etc. So you can already tell that 36 is the common one here. So we've got 36 as the common number. So that's the smallest possible values of n, because they say that the number n is both a multiple of 12. So this is a multiple of 12 and it's a square number. So this is the smallest number. Of course, there are other numbers. All subsequent multiples of this number, which are also squares, are also true, but this is the smallest one. So don't forget to write your answer in the allocated space, 36. A coin is made from a mixture of tin, copper, and zinc. Given the percentages of the metals used, tin 0.4%, copper 96.5%, and zinc K%. We got the value of K. So to find K, it's going to be given by 100%, since these are percentages. 100% minus 0.4 plus 96.5. Okay, so this will be 100% minus 96.5 plus this one, that will be 96.9%, and that will be very simple now. This is equals to 3.1. So K is equals to 3.1. You're not supposed to write percent because the value of percent, the percent is going to be written there. So the value of K only is 3.1. Here are 4 number cards. Using each card once, write down one number between 3020 or 3020 and 3200. So here, a number bigger than this one, we've got maybe 2 or 3. 3000, 3000, 3150. Another number which you can use is maybe 30,051. 3051. So just choose any one from these 3. I'm going to choose 3105. Write down the ratio 90:120 in its simplest form. So this one you need to reduce to its lowest forms by dividing using common factors. So this one, the largest common factor or the highest common factor between these two numbers is 30. I'm going to divide both numbers by 30. 10, 10, 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 12, 4. This 10, 1, and 3. So it's 3 is to 4. So here our answer is 3. Make sure your numbers are clear. 3 is to 4, so that the whoever is marking doesn't have confusion over what you've written. 3 is to 4. Next, the diagram shows a shape with 5 shaded sections. Shade one more section on the diagram so that it is a rotational symmetry of order 3. To begin with, what is rotational order? What is rotational symmetry? We're not talking about the rotational symmetry of a shape. We're talking about the number of times through which the shape returns to its original configuration through one revolution, or which is through 360 degrees. So the question is asking you, how many times can this shape return to this format to be in the way that it is looking right now? How many can you shade one section on this diagram so that it can maintain this shape or this configuration 3 times through one revolution? So the easiest way, because this is a hexagon, and the easiest way would be just to shade this section. If you shade this section, you can see that this section, when you move it once, this section will be here. Question 8. The scale drawing shows the position of a rock R. The scale is 1 centimeter represents 30 meters. A lighthouse L is 210 meters from R on a bearing of 125 degrees. On the scale drawing, mark the position of L. So here you need to use your protractor, and you need to use your ruler, pencil, and compass. Firstly, you will need to mark 125 degrees. So this will be your 0 degrees. This will be where your north is. You will need to mark 0 there. Then you need to read 125 degrees using your protractor and draw a straight line which is extended. Now you need to calculate the distance, 210. Since 1 centimeter is representing 30 meters, then it must mean that 210 meters is being represented by 210 over 30, which is equals to 7. So you must measure 7 centimeters from this point. This one will be 7 centimeters up to a point which you are going to mark with a circle there, and then you are going to call this position L. Very simple. Now, a thing to note here is that when you are making drawings in geometry, you must leave construction lines there. Do not erase construction lines. The marker will need to see the instruction lines, the construction lines. So take note to leave the construction lines on the paper. Right. A cake has a mass of 600 grams. Joe eats 1/5 of the cake. Find the mass of the cake that is left. So this is a fraction. 1/5 of is always replaced with times 600 grams. So we're going to do some division. 5 into 5, 1, 5 into 6, 1 remainder 1, 5 into 10, 2, 5 into 0, 0. 1 times 120, 120 grams. So the mass that Joe eats is 120. Now, this is the mass which has been eaten. What is left will be 600 grams minus 120 grams. This one will give you 10 minus 2, that gives an 8. 6 minus 2 gives a 4. So the amount which is left is 480 grams. Okay. Question 10. You are given a shape there. Lines A, B, this one, and C, D are parallel. So you already know that when lines are parallel and there's a line which cuts across the two lines, that line is called a transient and forms some important angles which we can call Z angles, F angles, and some corresponding and alternate angles. So that's important to note there. F and EG are straight lines, so there's a straight line, this is a straight line. Find the value of A here. Give a geometrical reason for your answer. So you can tell that if these two lines are parallel and there's a line cutting across them like this, the angle which is formed here is equal to this angle here. These ones are called alternate angles. So angle A is equals to 46 degrees because it is an angle. So we can mention the specific angle DCE. It is an alternate angle of DCE. All right, so 1 mark for the angle, 1 mark for the reason of DCE. You can put a Chinese head there to show that the angle is at C. Find the value of B and give a reason for it. So you can tell that A and B are angles in a straight line here. We know that a straight line is 180 degrees. So 180 minus 46, this gives us, let's do some calculations. 180 minus 46, 10 minus 6 gives us a 4, 8 minus 5 gives us a 3, and 1 minus 0 gives us 1. So this is 134. So this angle is 134 degrees. So let's come to our answer. B is equals to 134 degrees because it is in a straight line with A. Or you can simply say angles in a straight line. Then find the value of C and also give a reason. So now we found the value of A, we found the value of B. We can use many theories here. You can use this, because you can see that this forms a triangle and the sum of a triangle is 180. So you can simply say C is equals to 180, which is the angle sum, minus 60 plus 46 degrees. So this will be 180 minus 106 degrees. This is equals to 74 degrees because these are the angles in a triangle. You can see that if you add them together, 60 plus 74 plus 46, you will get 180. So let's write our answer there after we've done our working. C is equals to 74 degrees because in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Okay. You can also use alternate angle theorem, where these are angles, the interior angles of an exterior angle here. So the rule says that the exterior angle, this one B, is equals to the sum of the two interior angles which are opposite it. So you can say 134 is equals to 60 plus C, and then you can do the subtraction. 134 minus 60, you still get to 74. Let's move on to the next one. Work out 7 plus 9 times 3. You must always watch for this. Remember to use our rule, BEDMAS or BIDMAS. It is the same. B for brackets, E for exponents or indices or powers, D for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So these ones are rules which you must always take note of whenever you are doing you're solving your problems. This is because this is the order in which you must solve your problem, given that the question has got different operations. In this question, there are no brackets, there are no exponents, there's no division, but there's multiplication. So before we do addition, we must start with multiplication. So we're going to put these ones which are multiplying each other in brackets. So it will be 7 plus 9 times 3 is 27. So 7 plus 27, that's 34. So we write our answer here, 34. In the next one, minus 6 minus 12, we know that whenever we subtract a negative number, it is the same as adding. So it is the same here, minus 6 plus 12, which is the same as saying 12 minus 6, which gives us 6. So this gives you positive 6. Then the next one says 10 to the power minus 2. So you know that from your rules of indices, any number x to the power of a negative exponent is the same as 1 over x to the power of that positive exponent. So in this case, 10 to the power minus 2 is the same as saying 1 over 10 squared. And this gives you 1 over 100. Or you can express it in decimal form if you want, 0.01. Or you can leave it in fraction form like that. So your answer in this correct space, 0.01. Moving on to the next question. Factorize 9x plus 12. So in order to factorize, you must be able to come out with factors of a particular number. The factors of 9 are 3 times x, and the factors of 12 are 3 times 4. The others, of course, like 2 times 6, but in this case, it doesn't look like it's going to apply. So you can tell there's a 3 here, there's a 3 here. So we factor out the 3 first, and then we're left with, we add the remaining factors. That's how we factorize. We take out the common factors, put it outside of the bracket, and inside the bracket, we add the remaining factors. Here we've got x plus 4. So our answer will be 3 bracket x plus 4. The next question says, solve 6x minus 5 equals to 2x plus 13. So to solve this one, you must bring all like terms to one side or together so that you can solve it easier. So we're starting with 2x. We want to bring all terms with x to the left and all terms without x to the right. So because this is an equation, whatever we do to the left must also be equal to what we do on the right. 6x minus 5. So since 2 is positive here, we'll subtract it so that we're left with 0, 2x here. So minus 2x is equals to 2x minus 2x plus 13. Take note that if we add 2x to both sides, we'll remain with the original equation. So you must always take note that whatever you do on the left, you do also on the right. So here we'll be left with 6x minus 2x minus 5 equals to, this gives us a 0 and 13 only. Now we need to take this 5 this side. We're going to add, since it's negative here, we're going to add it. So 6x minus 2x minus 5 plus 5 equals to 13 plus 5. Now it's simpler. 6x minus 2x gives us 4x equals to 13 plus 5 gives us 18. We divide both sides by 4. We divide this side by 4. So 24, 1, 4 into 18, that's 4, 8, 12, 16. So this gives us 4 remainder 2 over 4, which is equals to 4.5, or if you want 4.5. So the value of x here is equals to 4.5. So now we need to write our answer in the allocated space, 4.5. All right, let's move on to question 13. Question 13 says, a plane flies from London to Colombo. The time in London when the plane leaves is 08:20 on Saturday. The time in Colombo when the plane arrives is 02:15 on Sunday. The flight time is 13 hours 25 minutes. Find the time difference between London and Colombo and determine whether the time in Colombo is ahead or behind the time in London. So firstly, we need to break down our problem. What is our problem? Our problem is an addition problem and subtraction problem. So that's quite simple. What are we going to do now? So if the plane leaves at 08:20 and adds 13:25, so we're going to add the 2, 5, 4, 8 plus 3, 11, 1 plus 1, 2. So the plane is supposed to arrive at 21:45. So it was supposed to arrive at 21:45, but if the time zones were the same, but because the time zones are different, this is arriving at 2:15 on Sunday. It was supposed to arrive at 21:45 on the same day on Saturday, but it's arriving at 2:15 on Sunday. So now we need to find the difference. So 2:15 is 2 hours 15 minutes ahead of midnight. Midnight is 24:00. So if we add these two, we're going to get 26:15. Take note that there is no time like this, but for the sake of finding the difference, this is an intermediate step which you need to take so that you may be able to find the difference between the time of arrival. If you may find the difference between the time of arrival, which was expected, and the time of arrival, which was experienced due to the different time zones. So now we're going to say 26:15 minus this time which it was supposed to arrive, 21:45. Okay, so here you can use two methods. You can use a method of counting, or you can use a method of subtraction. But when you do use the method of subtraction like the one that I'm writing here, you must take note that when you are converting hours to minutes, then you must be able to add each 1 hour which you borrow should be equal to 60 minutes. What am I saying? Here you know that these are hours, the minutes. 1 hour, since 1 hour is equals to 60 minutes, therefore if you borrow 1 hour here, since you cannot subtract 4 from 1, then the 1 hour should be equal to 60 minutes. So 15 minus 45 cannot work because 15 is less than 45. So you borrow 1 hour from 26 hours, and if you add 60 plus 15, you get 75. 5 minus 5, 0. 7 minus 4, 3. Then the 1 hour which you borrowed, you need to return back, much like we do in equations. And you add 1 hour here, the 60 minutes is 1 hour here. So 6 minus 2 gives you 4. So what it is saying here is that the difference is 4 hours and 30 minutes. You can also use the counting method which I was talking about. How do you use that one? The plane is supposed to arrive at 21:45, but arrives later at the 02:15. So you need to count. You can find the difference between this and the nearest hour until 2200, then until 2300, then 2400, and then add this 2 hours 15. So this and this is 15 minutes. From 22, this is 1 hour, and this one another hour. So you add this, and this is 2 hours 15. 15 plus 1 hour, this is 2 hours 15, then plus 2 hours 15, you still get your 4 hours 30 minutes. Now, the next question which you're supposed to answer is on whether the time in Colombo is ahead or behind the time in London. So because if it was in the same time zone as London, it would have arrived at 21:45, but it has arrived on 2:15 of the next day. Okay, so it means that as you travel to Colombo from London, it means that Colombo is ahead in its time zone. So to answer the question, you're going to say 4 hours 30 minutes ahead of. Question 14. The diagram shows a shape made from 2 different parallelograms. The shape is a total area of 210 square centimeters. Find the value of x. This one needs you to think a bit. So you can see here that this is a multi-step problem. It's not drawn to scale, so do not bother or waste your time measuring the sides and trying to. No, it won't work. You need to do some calculations here. So since the total area of this shape of these 2 parallelograms is 210, it means that if we can find the area of one of these shapes, then you can subtract from the total area and get the area of the other one. So how do you do this? You already know that from here to here is 15, and it is the same distance from here to here. So area of a parallelogram, parallelogram, or just abbreviated like this, is equals to base times perpendicular height. So the base is 15, the height is 4. So 15 centimeters times 4 centimeters, and the units of the area are in square centimeters. So 15 times 4, that's 60 square centimeters. So the area of parallelogram B, as I called it, is 60 square centimeters. Now, since the total area of the 2 shapes is 210, to find the area of parallelogram A, it's very simple. It's just equals to total area minus area of parallelogram B. Very simple. So this is 210 centimeters squared minus 60 square centimeters, and this gives you, this minus that gives you 150 square centimeters. So x, now we have not solved the problem, we have simply made some steps. So all these steps are going to give you marks. X is the perpendicular, so 15 times this x must give us 150. So 15 multiplied by x is equals to 150. So to find x simply we're going to divide both sides by 15. X equals to 150 over 15, which is equals to 10 centimeters. So x is equals to 10 centimeters. Take note, it is always good to write units, or don't forget the units. Unless if they've been supplied, it is always a good practice to write the units, okay? So in this case, our x equals to 10, okay? Moving on to question 15. As part of a sports competition, 14 athletes run 100 meters and complete a swimming race. The scatter diagram shows the times in seconds to run 100 meters and the times in seconds to complete the swimming race for 11 of these athletes. So we are given the time to complete the swimming race and the time to run 100 meters. So this is a scatter graph. The table shows the times for the other 3 athletes. So these are their times for swimming and running. On the scatter diagram, plot these 3 points for 2 marks. So 1 took 10.2 time to run the 100 meters and 23.5. So this will be somewhere here, 10.2 and 23.5. They meet here. So use your ruler. You draw using your ruler and mark this point. Then the other one, 10.86 and 25.4. So 10.8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this line, and 25.4. So let's look for 25.4. 25.4 is on this line, and 10.86 is here. So I'm going to mark this point. Then the last point is 11.04 and 24.9. So 11.0, 1, 09. This is 11.0, this is 11.2. So this is 11.1. 11.1 will be here. So 11.04, since this is between 11.0 and 11.1 is divided into 5, it means that each of them must be 0.02. So this is 11.02, 04 will be here, and 24.9 will be here. 24.9. So you mark that point with an X. So make the points neat and you get your full marks. Always use a ruler to show where you're going. State the type of correlation shown in the scatter diagram. You can see that as the time to complete increases, the time to run also increases. So it means that the more the time to complete the swimming race, the more the time taken to complete the run. So you can say that the type of correlation is that it is positive. As one is increasing, the other one is also increasing. So that's positive. On the scatter diagram, draw a line of best fit. So the line of best fit would be the one in which all the points are best represented, and it will be somewhere around here. Using a straight ruler and a pencil which is sharp, you're going to draw your line like this. Yes, of course your line should be straight since I'm not using a ruler here. Then another athlete completes the swimming race in 23.8 seconds. Use your line of best fit to estimate the athlete's time to run 100 meters. So if they take 23.8, that will be somewhere here. Then you must come to the line and estimate something like maybe 10 point, this is 10.2, 10.4, this is 10.3. So this will be like 10.38, 10.38 according to our graph. Of course, graphs may be different and you're going to get marks for the graph which you write. So make sure that you draw a good graph. The table shows the diameter in centimeters and the mass in grams of 9 medals. Write down the mode of the diameters. So what is the mode? This is now statistics. The mode is the number which appears the most, okay, or a value which appears the most. So we're looking at the mode of the diameters. We have 85 and 85 only. Here we have 70, 70, 70, 60, 60, 66, and 68. The best way in which you can find or you can solve statistical problems where you have got mean, mode, median, and range, is first thing to arrange the data in order. The best way, in my experience, is to use ascending order. So here you start with the smallest and write the numbers or arrange them until you get to the biggest. So in ascending order, let's just write order so that 60 is the smallest, another 60, then from there we have 66, from there we have 68, so this we've used these ones, then from there we have 3 70s, 70, 70, 70, then we have 85 and 85. So now it's easier. The mode is the number which appears the most. 60 appears twice, 66 once, 68 once, 70 3 times, 85 twice. So since 70 is the one which is appearing 3 times, it is the mode. Find the median of the masses. Again, we need to arrange the masses in order of according to size. We start with 102. It looks like it's the smallest. So the order, this is ascending order. 102, 135. Next, after 135 is 152. After 152, 180, 181. Next one, 200. After 200, 231. And next one is 412. The last one is 500. So now that we've arranged our data in order, to find the median is very simple. The median is the central figure, or the central value, or the value in the middle. Since we have 9 masses, then it also means that the middle value is the one in which you have an equal number of values on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the middle value is this one, 181. That's the median. All right, let's move on. The time L is, the line L is shown on the grid. We're now on question 16. So that's the line L. Find the equation of the line L in the form y equals to mx plus c. Firstly, we need to understand what this equation means. Y is equals to mx plus c. Y is a y value. The x is an x value. And m refers to the gradient, and c refers to the y-intercept, or the point at which the graph crosses the y-axis, y-intercept, the y-intercept. So now let's first start by finding the y-intercept, which is c. The graph is cutting the y-axis, which is this line, at this point -1. C is equals to -1. Then next we need to find m, the gradient. So to find m, the gradient, we say change in y over change in x. I've put the Greek symbol, capital letter delta, but you can simply write y2 minus y1, or y final minus y initial, over x2 minus x1. So we can take any 2 points on the graph. I'm going to take this point and this point. At this point, the y value is 0, minus, and the y value at this point is -1, and the x value at this point is 2. The x value at the y-axis is 0. So it will be now 0 minus -1 is the same as +1. 2 minus 0, 2. So our gradient m equals to 1/2. Rewriting the equation, y is equals to, replacing m with the half x plus -1, which is equals to half x minus 1. So you've rewritten the equation in the form y is equals to mx plus c, where m is equals to half and c equals to -1. So our answer in the answer box, y is equals to half x minus 1. Part B says the table shows some values for a graph. Again, a second one, y equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3. Complete the table. So we need to find the value for y at which x equals to -2 and another value, that one. So we just do our workings, very simple. Y is equals to minus 2. We replace wherever there is x with minus 2. Minus 2 bracket minus 2 minus 3, which is equals to minus 2 squared is 4. Minus 2 times minus 2, that's another 4. Minus 3, which is equals to 8 minus 3, which is equals to 5. So at this point, it's 5. Then the next one, we replace x with 1. Y is equals to 1 squared minus 2 bracket 1 minus 3, which is equals to 1 minus 2 minus 3. 1 minus 2, that's minus 1, or 1 minus 5 is equals to minus 4. So here it's minus 4. On the graph, draw the graph of y is equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3 for the points, or for the range x from minus 2 up to positive 4. So our graph is starting from here to there. So we need to complete the last value there. The last value, when x equals to 4, so it will be y is equals to 4 squared minus 2 bracket 4 minus 3, which is equals to 16 minus 8 minus 3, 16 minus 11, that gives you 5. So here again it's another 5. Right, so I've completed the table. Now when we are doing this curve, this is going to be a curve. You can see that after after this minus 4, all other points start increasing up to 5. And all other points start increasing up to 5. So it must mean that the lowest point of this graph is equals to minus 4. So the minimum point of this curve is at 4, and it looks something like this, because the minimum point is at minus 4 and all other points are increasing. So that's what you're supposed to draw. So you need to plot all those points and then join them. So let's look at the points. So we've correctly plotted all the points. Your plotting should be clear. Put a small cross instead of dots so that the whoever is marking can follow through. Here you can use French curves or you can use freehand, but you must not breathe whilst you're drawing. Make sure the curves are smooth whilst you join the points. Okay? My curve is not very smooth, obviously, because the pen that I'm using is but the graph should look something like this. I'll obviously draw one on the paper which you can see better. So that's what your graph should somewhat look like. And the question says write down the equation of the line of symmetry of the graph, this one. So the line of symmetry should be able to divide this graph into 2 equal parts. So it must be this one, which is x equals to 1. So the equation of the line is x equals to 1. Write down the negative value of x where the line A and the graph intersect. So the negative values are these ones, which are at this value, because at this side the values are positive, so only at this side. So at this point, the negative values of x should be somewhere around 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.5, 0.6. You can say 0.5, 0.6. Obviously it depends on your graph, but you're going to get an answer around 0.5 until maybe 0.7. Mine is 0.5. So mine is, the negative value is minus 0.5. Question 17. 2 bags A and B each contain blue beads and white beads only. The probability of taking a blue bead at random from bag A is 0.8 given here. The probability of taking a blue bead at random from bag B is 0.3, which is given here as well. Complete the tree diagram. So if the probability of getting blue is 0.8 and all total probability is equal to 1, therefore 1 minus 0.8, this one gives you. And if the probability of getting blue from bag B is 0.3, then probability of getting white would be 0.7. Here again it is the same, 0.3 for getting blue and 0.7 for getting white. A student takes 1 bead at random from bag A and 1 bead at random from bag B. Find the probability that both beads are white. So the key word there is and. In probability, whenever we see these words, we should pay attention to them. And means, when we see and, it means we multiply. When we say or, it means we add. Here we multiply. So here it says find the probability we get a white from A and a white from B. So probability of getting from A times probability of getting white from B. This is what we are looking for. So probability of getting white from A is 0.2 and probability of getting white from B is 0.7. So this will be 0.2 times 0.7. We can simply multiply these two numbers, 2 times 7, that gives us 14. How many decimal places in total do we have? 1, 2, 1, 2, and our answer is 0.14, like this. So this is a simple way of calculating the probabilities there. On question 18, it says describe fully the single transformation which maps shape A onto shape B. You can see that shape A and B are equal. This is obviously a rotation. You can see the shape has been rotated to the left through 90 degrees. So it's a rotation 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And now we'll need to find the center of rotation. I'm going to explain it using the paper itself. So first, you're going to determine the edges. You can take A, B, C, D. Then corresponding ones, A1, B1, C1, D1. That. Then once you've done that, next you need to draw a straight line so that you may be able to produce a perpendicular bisector. So I'm going to join corresponding points. I'll check one and this one. Then I want to make perpendicular bisector of this and this. So I'll need to take my compass. Make sure your pencil is sharp so that it doesn't. Then, to draw your perpendicular bisector, just open more than half and draw without changing the radius. Then bisect this one as well, this with corresponding sides. So I want to join this point and this point and this. So where the 2 points intersect, at this point, that is your point, the new center of rotation. So it is. So to answer the question, transformation is a rotation, and you see that it's only going to move 90 degrees to the left, which means anti-clockwise, and the center 0, 0. So the rotation 90 degrees anti-clockwise around the center 0, 0, where the two lines are intersecting here. The second part says, on the grid, draw the image of a shape A after translation by the vector -5, -6. So it means every point is going to move or going to be translated by this vector -5, -6. So each point is going to move 5 places to the left, 6 places down. So let's come to our shape. So each of these single points, this one 5 places to the left, 6 down, this one 5 places to the left, 6 down, as well as this one and this one. So let's start with this point. I'm going to move this one 1, 2, this point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6 going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be like my new A2. Then this one, I can move also 6 going down and 5 to the left is still the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one will be here, B2. And then I can do the same, but since this shape has not been transformed, to change this size, it means that I'm going to still count 3 going up on this one from B and 2 going up from A. So it will be 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2 from here. So our new shape will be like this. Obviously, you're going to draw using a ruler. You are going to draw using a ruler. So your new shape will look like this, nicely done. This will be a reflected shape. All right, in order to do this well, what we are going to do is, in order to transform shape A with an enlargement of scale factor 3, we're going to do it in 4 steps. First, we're going to list all the coordinates of the different points. I've labeled my points A, B, C, and D here. So point A, the coordinates are 2, 1, because I'm using the XY coordinate system. Point B is 3, 1. Point C, this point C is 3, 4. And point D is 2, 3. Right, that's step 1. So I'm going to write step 1. All right, this is my step 1 like this. Step 2, I'm going to calculate the distance from each of these individual points to the new center. So from A to the new center, I'm going to calculate the distance or produce a vector of the distance from A to this new point for each of the different points. So I'll start with the first one. So the distance from 2, 1 to the new center, 1, 4, I'm going to just subtract. The x coordinates are going to subtract each other, the y coordinates are going to subtract each other. And this will give me 2 minus 1, this will give me 1, and 1 minus 4 will give me minus 3. And after I've done this for this point, then I'll go to step 3. Step 3. For step 3 now, I'll need to multiply enlargement vector by the scale factor. We've been told that the scale factor is 3. Yeah? So I'll multiply 1 minus 3, both by 3, 3. Or I'll just put a 3 here, it will be the same. So the numerator multiplied by 3, I'm going to get 3. The denominator multiplied by 3 minus 3, I'm going to get minus 9. Then the final step, step 4, I'm going to add now this new vector, this enlargement vector, to the center of rotation so that I get the exact coordinate. So I'm going to add this to 1, 4. So I'll say 3 minus 9 plus 1, 4. Or I can start with 1, 4 and add this the same. Right, so 3 plus 1, that's going to give me a 4. Minus 9 plus 4, that's going to give me minus 5. So my first point is 4 and minus 5. So let me go to this grid, x-axis 4, y-axis minus 5. So the first point is this one. All right, I'm going to repeat this for the other points. I'm going to go to the second point, B. So I will start from step 2 since I've already done listed all the points on step 1. So I'll write 3, 1, minus 1, 4. 3 minus 1 gives me 2, 1 minus 4 minus 3. Then step 3, I'll need to multiply by the scale factor 3 and 2 minus 3. 3 times 2, that gives me 6. 3 times minus 3, minus 9. Then final step, I'll add this scaled vector back to the center. So there I will have 6 minus 9 plus 1, 4. So this will give me 7 minus 4 minus 9 plus 4, that will give me minus 5. So 7 and minus 5, this is the point. Then I'll go to the third point, 3, 4. So let me divide these. Again, I'll start from step 2. So the point is 3, 4 minus minus 1, 4. 3 minus 1 gives me 2. 4 minus 4, 0. Then step 3, 2, 0 times 3. So this will give me 6, 0. Then step 4, I will add back this to the center, the new center. Then it will be 6, 0, and 4, which will be 7 and 4. So 7 and 4 to be here. So this is my new point. Then the last point, again, I'll start from step 2. 2, 3 minus 1, 4, giving me 2 minus 1, that's 1. 3 minus 4, minus 1. Then I'll take my new points, go to step 3. 1 minus 1 multiplied by 3, multiplied by 3. So 3 times 1, that's 3. 3 times minus 3, like that. Then 3 minus 3 plus 1, 4. 3 plus that gives me 4. Minus 3 plus 4 gives me 1. So my other point will be 4 and 1, which will be this point. Then next, after that, it's simple. I can just join my shape, the lines now, always with a ruler. This and like that, in the order of the points, like this. So you can see now I have my transformed shape or my enlarged shape A. It's like this one, this new shape. So the easiest way or the most important thing to remember is that what we do first, I'm going to summarize the steps. What we do first, we list all the points of the shape that we want to enlarge. And after we've listed all the points, first we are going to calculate the distance from the point to the new center. This is why we subtracted the coordinates of the center to get this vector. And then we're going to scale it up, to scale this distance by the scale factor. Here we've been given the scale factor has been 3, so we multiply both the x and y values with or by 3. Then we add back now to the new center. So we add this scaled vector to the new center to get the coordinates of the new coordinates of the enlarged shape. So another thing to take note of is if the scale factor is a whole number, then the shape is going to be enlarged. If we are scaling by a fraction, it means that the shape is going to be smaller, or we're going to decrease the size of the shape. All right, so this is the whole question on transformation. The first part was to describe the transformation. We saw it was a rotation. Then we drew a translation of the shape, and then we did an enlargement of the shape. So for more questions on enlargements, watch our other video in the description. You can learn more about how to do these transformations, rotation, translation, enlargement, etc., etc., etc. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 19, rearrange the formula to make T the subject. So this one is quite simple. We're going to add 5 to both sides and then divide by 7. So W plus 5 is equals to 7T minus 5 plus 5. Then we're going to get W plus 5 equals to 7T. Then we divide both sides by 7, divide by 7, and then we're going to get W plus 5 over 7 is equals to 7 divided by 7, that's 1, equals to T. So T is equals to W plus 5 over 7. Write down the smallest even integer that satisfies the inequality y is greater than 2.5. So an integer is a whole number. So if y is greater than 2.5, then the next smallest even number is going to be y is equals to 4. Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And 3 is the next integer, but it is not even. So the correct one would be 4. Write an inequality in terms of x to represent the interval shown on this number line. So it's starting at -2 and ending at 4. But you can tell that the circle at -2 is empty and the circle at 4 is shaded. So when it's empty, it means that it's greater than, and when it is shaded, it means less than or equal to. There's an equal sign here. Okay, so our x is in between here. So x is less than or equal to 4, but greater than -2. So we can say -2 is less than x, but the x is equal to or less than 4. Moving on to question 21, we're almost done. Universal set is equals to a, b, d, e, f, h, I, m, p, t, u. X equals to a, e, I, u. Y equals to d, e, m, p, t, u. Use this information to complete the Venn diagram. So firstly, let's fill in the common or the intersection values. There's an e in x, there's an e in y, so we write in the intersection here. There's a u in x, there's a u in y, so we put our u here. There are no more intersections, so all the other remaining values will be in x only and the other ones in y only. So we have a, I, and then here we have d, m, p, t. Now the universal set has got all these ones and others. So a is there, b is not there, so b we write in the universal set outside of x and d. E we've already written. F is not to be found in either of these sets, so f should also be in the universal set. H is not to be found, so it's also in the universal set. I is there, m is already there, p is already there, t is already there, and u is also there. So this is our complete or completed Venn diagram. Part B, list the elements of x intersection y. So we need to count the number. We need to list the elements or write down the elements. So the elements are e and u. So that's why it's only one mark, e, u. Find the number of elements in x complement. So in x complement means that all the number of elements which are not found in the set x. So we're going to exclude ai and eu. So what we're going to be left with is everything else outside there. So it's going to be b, f, h. It's going to be b, f, e, f. So x complement b, f, h. What else do we have? dmpt, dmpt. So now we need to just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The elements are 7. The number of elements is 7. Then the last page, the length L of a rod is 39,700 meters, correct to the nearest 50 meters. Complete the statement about the value of L. You can take note that here we're not used to rounding to the nearest 50 meters. We used to round to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. But in this case, we are rounding to the nearest 50. So in this case, what we are supposed to do to find the value of L, we're supposed to spread this 50 on both sides of 39,700. So to spread it evenly, we'll divide this 50 by 2, add 25 and subtract 25. So if we add 25, that will be 39,725. And then if we subtract 25 from this number, then we're going to get 39,675. Now the logic behind this is that if it is to the nearest 50, then it means that all the numbers which are 25 or greater than or equal to 25 will get us to, we can be rounded to 50. And all the numbers which are less than 25 can be rounded down to 0. So in this case now, this is why it makes sense that the value of L should lie between 39,675 and 39,725. And the last question, solve the simultaneous equations 3x minus 5y equals to 22 and 7x plus 10y equals to 8. So to solve the simultaneous equation, we can use one of two methods. We can use the method of elimination, or we can use substitution. Normally when we use substitution, we find it is easier to use substitution when one of the values is already assigned a value which the coefficient of the unknown is 1. So in this case, it would be easier to use elimination. How do we use elimination? We were going to eliminate one of the variables. So for the first variable that we find, we're going to substitute it still into either one of those two equations and get the second. So to solve this type of equation, you have to make one variable have the same coefficient. So here it would seem that it's easier to eliminate this. Why? Because 5 and 10 are very close. They've got the lowest common denominator, which is 10. So what I will do is I will make this equation here be equal to 10 here. So to make this one equal to 10, I'll need to multiply the whole equation by 2 so that I get a negative 10y, which I will subtract. So what I will do here, I'll multiply this equation by 2 and multiply this one by 1, so it will stay the same. If I multiply this whole equation by 2, it will become 6x minus 10y equals to 44. So you can see here now that this is my equation 3. This was my equation 1, this one was equation 2. And here it's 7x plus 10y equals to 8. So what I will need to do now to eliminate this, I will simply add the equations. So I'll add the equations. If I add this 10y minus 10y and 10y will cancel out each other. So 6 plus 7, that's 13x. This one gives us 0. 44 plus 8 gives us 52. Then I divide both sides by 13. I divide both sides by 13. Here I get 1. Here I get. So what will eventually happen is I'll find my x value of x here equals to 13 into 52 is 4. My value of x is 4. Then I substitute this one into any of the equations. Let me substitute it into the second equation. So 7 bracket of 4 plus 10y equals to 8. So 28 plus 10y equals to 8. And then here, 10y is equals to 8 minus 28. 10y equals to minus 20. Divide both sides by 10 by 10. Then here it's 1. Here it's minus 2. So y is equals to minus 2. You can provisionally check by substituting these values into any one of the original equations and see if your solutions are correct. This was the elimination method in which we eliminated one variable. Now let's look at the substitution method in which we substitute one variable for another. So let's take any of the equations. I'll take this first equation and rearrange it to make one of the variables the subject of the formula. And then after that, I'll substitute that one into the second equation. So 3x minus 5y equals to 22. Then here what I'll do is I'll make x subject of the formula. So 3x is equals to 22 plus 5y, and divide both sides by 3 to make x subject of formula. X equals to 22 plus 5y over 3. This is not the exact value of x, but it is a formula in which x is a subject of formula. I will now substitute this one into the second equation. So 7 bracket 22 plus 5y over 3 plus 10y. Now I have an equation in which all the variables are y is equals to 8. Then I multiply each of the individual terms by 3 so that I eliminate this fraction part. So here it will be 7 bracket 22 plus 5y plus 10 times 3, that will be 30y, equals to 8 times 3, 24. Next, I expand to find the value of y. It's a bit longer, but we'll just do it. Seven times 22, 7 times 2, that's 14. 7 times 2 are 14, 154, plus 35y plus 30y equals to 24. Then I add these ones. 30 plus 35, I'm going to finish this one here. 30 plus 35, that's 65y equals to 24 minus that. 24 minus 154. Let me write like that first. 65y is equals to 24 minus 154. That's 130 minus 130. Then divide both sides by 65. Divide by 65. Here you get 1, here you get minus 2. So you can see that y equals to minus 2. We've come back to the original solution. So if we substitute again, y is equals to minus 2, we're going to get x equals to 4. If you learned a thing or two in paper 1 and you were amazed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share with your friends. Drop a comment, tell me which topics have been tough on you, and let's meet in paper 2. Check paper 2 in the video shown on your screen now. Click this video. Let's meet Mathematics Specimen Paper 2 2025.